Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast I run over here on youtube.com/UC Campbell, and it is SummerSlam Sunday, so we are actually going to be this is going to be a little bit of a different episode. Mainly we won't be going over the stuff throughout the entire week. That's kind of gone to the away side for the time being on that one, as I'm getting some stuff set up over here, so I don't actually have to see myself talking the entire time. I get weirded out when I see myself on the camera going along with everything too. It's, like I said, it's a little weird on that one. But with that being said, like I said, it is SummerSlam Sunday, and like I said, this one's going to be a little bit different because we got NXT Takeover to go over, and we are also going to go over my predictions for SummerSlam because, well, I haven't released my predictions for SummerSlam yet to go along with it, so it is what it is on that one. By the way, if you do want to tune in a little bit later today to our Twitch page for live reactions, it should be me and a few, and I think at least a few friends coming along with this one, so there will be a few people over there. So if you want to follow along with our live reactions and what we're doing during the SummerSlam pay-per-view itself, link is in the description for that one. And hopefully you'll end up enjoying the show as we are hopefully enjoying the show as well. Hopefully it's going to be a good one, because we had a good show last night, which was NXT Takeover, and we'll get into that here in a brief moment. But before we do that, there's about 11 hours left. Last I checked, it's about 12:30 Arizona time at this moment to at the time of this live stream and kind of recording of everything. So as of this moment in time, there's about 11 hours left to enter into this. Hopefully it's popping up on there. I'll make sure. Now I'll pull this back up to make sure it's up there. There we go. That's good. To enter in to get a chance to win a signed Alexa Bliss Funko Pop. That's right, I am giving this away, and there are many different ways to enter. The link is also going to be in the description. I think also going to put a couple of tweets out and everything on that side as the show's going on. There is still time to enter this. Entry for this ends at midnight tonight, Arizona time. Keyword that, Arizona time. So that will be West Coast time at this point. So for anyone watching this a little bit later on, you will be able to you will still be able to do that as long as it's still, well, Sunday the 19th to go along with that. I will more than likely pick a winner tomorrow morning in another video to go along with it, and hopefully everything will kind of play out properly on that one, and hopefully you guys get to kind of see everything on that side of it. So with that being said, like I said, good luck to anybody who enters, and it should be a lot of fun. And we will be giving that guy away, and then hopefully I'll be sending it out to the lucky winner here within the next week to go along with it. So with that being said, and there's no real other plugs to really be going through at this point in time, let's get into it. And we're going to skip the news this week. Not too terribly much in the news was going on. Some people did some stupid things. Dave Meltzer. And Hogan as well. They didn't endear themselves all that well. We'll leave it at that. Hogan's still trying to not fully take responsibility for what he did in a interview with Bill Afton. I did not fully read into it, but I've just kind of heard what it was on that one, so I can't really say personally because I don't really know anything on that side. The one that I did know, and he kind of messed it up, Dave Meltzer. He made a not too endearing comment towards Peyton Royce in a comment or in a section on the Wrestling Observer news, on the Wrestling Observer radio show that he does. And he ate a lot of flack on it. He said the comment was, in the end, he liked her better in NXT. And he also makes mention and to the credit with the Iconics, they haven't been doing too much since they've been up on the main roster, but the comment wasn't an aspect of liking them better in NXT. One of the things he also made mention was that she was lighter in NXT, which caused Peyton Royce to comment, and WWE Superstars to comment as well. Dave Meltzer tried to apologize, but also it didn't go well, to go along with that. Yeah, anything potentially towards body shaming in any way is not good on that side of everything. We'll just leave it at that. I don't fully have all that stuff out there because I don't plan on really doing news or anything on that side, so I don't have any of that stuff really pulled up. So I recommend, for things that I've said here, take them at face value for what I've said, because I haven't been able to fully research into all of it yet on my side. My recommendation is for you to go out there and research it as well and kind of form your own opinions, because I have not fully formed an opinion about them. Mine are kind of reactionary at this point in time, so it's not always best to be at a reactionary type of opinion on everything without fully researching into it. So my recommendation for anybody who is watching this, highly recommended, that Dave Meltzer had his, his Wrestling Observer radio show, and then I think he put a few tweets out there in the terms of on his attempt of apology as well. I recommend going out there and finding those and seeing how you feel about them on that side. And also with the Hogan stuff with the Bill After interview, I recommend you going to listen to it and be able to form an opinion truthfully out of that side. I can't give a full opinion on it on my own end. I kind of am throwing it out there so people can potentially go out there and, search this stuff out and try to form an opinion that they can truthfully go about, that is their own at that time. I can't necessarily give you a truthful one at this point, unfortunately, because I did not spend the time to research it this week. But it's a couple of news stories that were out there, and it's interesting. It would be interesting to see what other people's opinions would be on those particular ones who have been listening in on everything this week to go along with it. So with that being said, let's get away from the news, which wasn't too terribly much this week. Though I guess also the other one is that Daniel Bryan had an interview that he said he was about 90% plus that he would be re-signing with the WWE. So that's, I guess, good signs for WWE on that side. And potential for him having more feuds here in the future here with WWE side, or maybe he does go to a New Japan or something like that. There's still a small percentage that he might still leave, so we'll see what ends up happening with Daniel Bryan. Not much more to report on the Daniel Bryan side. He still hasn't signed a contract yet. Now, I said this twice now, and I'm going to say it one last time, and we are going to get away from it. So let's get away from the news side, and let's go right into it with NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4's review. NXT Takeover Brooklyn was last night, and again, it was a fun show. NXT Takeover is yet to disappoint me in any way, shape, or form. Any of the Brooklyns, any of them really. They've all been rather enjoyable shows that are, a lot of fun to watch, and this one's no different. So this one started off with the Undisputed Era going up against Mustache Mountain for the NXT Tag Team titles. This was, it was a great match. It was a great match to start off the show with. It was very fast-paced, very hot. It was very fast-paced action, but good selling to go along with it as well. They also did do a reverse of the kind of a reverse, but still in the same team of what they had done during the original tag team title match, that the Undisputed Era got the tag team titles back from Mustache Mountain, which was when Trent, at that one, Trent Seven was, they worked over his knee throughout the entire match, and he got to a point that it was really, really bad, and Tyler Bate threw in the towel to end out saving his tag partner because he wasn't going to risk disqualification. They did do that here, but they did it reversed with Tyler Bate, the one being worked over throughout the entire match. I thought this was a nice little storyline tidbit. to put into the match, and also the fact that they went a separate way with it, that Trent Seven decided to not throw in the towel because Tyler Bate was sitting there telling him no, no, no throughout the entire time. But and Trent was like, he looked like he was going to, and then just chucks it off into the crowd. I like the little storyline bit. I had one problem with it, and this is my little stickler for the rules. For the rules of tag team and everything. So at this point in time, I believe each team in that sense had used their one save. But there was one simple problem with it, which was, if you go by old-time tag team rules, that's the truth. You have one save, and then afterwards it's a disqualification if you do it again to go along with it. Why do I have one problem with this? Very simple. There could have been about 3 or 4 DQs beforehand because tag partners were in there for longer than a 5 count to go along with it. So even though it was a great little touch that they put in there, it took me out of it a little bit that the referee was now stopping Trent Seven from trying to get in and make the save when he refused to do 5 counts earlier with both Kyle O'Reilly while Roderick Strong was the legal person, and Trent Seven while Tyler Bate was the legal person in the ring, and then even vice versa. So he refused those 5 counts to get them out of the ring, and yet he was doing this, causing that to get there. It's one thing for, it's just one thing on my side. Outside of that, a great match. It was great how they did that. It was a great way for seeing how Tyler Bate got out of the submission hold as well, and did get the hot tag. They did do the knee burning hammer finish to the Undisputed Era that Kyle O'Reilly kicked out of in there, which eventually led to a high-low on Trent Seven for the Undisputed Era to pick up the victory. It was a great opener. I had one little snippet of a problem with it. That's just me being a stickler for it, though, on that side of it, everything. And then, like I said, Undisputed Era won the match. And then after the match, the War Raiders showed up and destroyed the Undisputed Era. They came up from behind and just laid waste to both Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. And by the way, no Adam Cole in this match at all. So again, relatively, and by relatively I mean completely clean victory for the Undisputed Era. I like the way that they went about this entire match, and also setting up for the next tag team title contenders to go along with it. Up next, we had EC3 going up against the Velveteen Dream. And this was a good match. Velveteen Dream, with his entrance, loved it. The whole aspect of Call Me Up Vince was great. To go along with it on his tights, good stuff. As Batman is taking out his cell phones, and he is back in the chats. As I'm a little bit earlier this week, and we're kind of skipping over some stuff this week as well. But Velveteen Dream in EC3. I don't know. People were saying that this was good, and I think it was a good match. It just felt like it went a little bit too long to go along with it. It felt like it was dragging throughout the entire match, and maybe it was just both of their styles meshing together, not all that great or something. In the terms of it, this, yep, and hello to the chat cave, which we can bring the chat cave over to Twitch tonight, by the way, for live reactions. Let's bring it over to there. Also, if Batman is has not known about it yet, I'll say it in there into the chat for anybody, again, to kind of reiterate that we got about 11 hours left to enter for a chance to win an Alexa Bliss signed Funko Pop. So chat links in the description for that one. There's still a little bit of time on that side of everything. Again, good luck to everyone. But back to this EC3 Velveteen Dream. I don't know. I did not like this match, I think, as much as some other people did. I thought it was good. It was definitely the low point of the night, which is, saying something that, a good match is the low point of the night. But I felt like this match was dragging on a little bit from time to time. I did like the whole aspect of Velveteen Dream working over the neck after he had done a DDT on the outside of the ring, did his weird like Sister Abigail style DDT to EC3 on the outside of the ring. He broke up the 10 count though. That was the one down point of that. He broke up the 10 count because by the time he got back to the ring, it was at 8. There was no way EC3 was getting back in the ring. He just breaks it and puts him back in the ring. A little weird. I'm not gonna lie, that was a little weird on that one. And I mean, all in all, it was good, but it wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. The finish of the match was pretty darn good, where Velveteen Dream did like his rolling, oh, what is it? The rolling Death Valley driver that he does into the Purple Rainmaker on the ring apron to pick up the victory. So Velveteen Dream picked up the victory in this match. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good on that side of it. So I felt like it dragged a little bit, but it was a good match, but not great by any stretch. But speaking of great matches, because we had the next 3 were great matches. Adam Cole versus Ricochet. This was one of those bits of just Adam Cole figuring out what he needed to do to counter Ricochet at every turn, but still not being good enough, or still not being enough to pick up the victory to go along with it. You had the bit where it's like you had Ricochet going for a springboard moonsault to Adam Cole, which gets caught by a super kick, and many other different areas along with it. Him countering the 630 by just rolling out of the ring was great. That was a way of setting up the finish. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. But Ricochet as well, pulling off some really good spots. But here is the main factor of it, and it was one of those things of, yes, it was fast-paced action. And there were some crazy spots in there to go along with it. But it was also good selling to go along with it as well. I felt like both of them sold it really well. I like the aspect of Ricochet selling that he was kind of dazed and confused throughout the match a little bit to go along with it. And then suckered in Adam Cole to try to do his Shining Wizard and countered that to go along with as well. The ending of this match I thought was great. So when Adam Cole had rolled out of the ring to the ring apron to get away from the 630, senton, Ricochet gets off the top rope and gets a running head start around the corner, leaps over the top rope and hits Adam Cole with a Hurricane Rana to the outside, puts him back into the ring, and hits the 630 to pick up the victory. It was great. I liked this match. I thought it was really good. I thought they did a good job throughout the entire match to actually get the selling across that they were, still feeling the effects of the spots that they were doing, but they were also setting up for the next one to go along with that and selling to go along with it as well. Great job on this match. I like this one a lot. Ricochet picking up the victory and picking up the North American Championship as well. We have now gotten 2 North American champions. So Adam Cole being the first, and now the second being Ricochet. Very good match. I liked it. So this leads us to the NXT Women's title match. It was Shayna Baszler going up against Kairi Sane, and I saw this briefly while I was at work. I saw what the end was of this one. I was like, oh, that seemed like it could have been not such a great match. But then I watched the entire match later to go along with it, and this match was great. This was a great match, and Shayna Baszler she does such a good job of making you feel uncomfortable with what she's doing to her opponents. So she went after Kairi Sane's leg at the beginning of the match. After the brief flurry from both, and then Shayna Baszler takes control and actually went after the leg and the knee and the ankle of Kairi Sane throughout the rest of the match. The stomp to the ankle was great. She even had this little spot in there where, like, literally it seemed like she had Kairi Sane's ankle being bent in what was at least 3 different directions at one time. What she did to the leg, you should not be able to do, but apparently they did without, you know, breaking her leg to go along with it. It was very good stuff. And a very good way of Kairi Sane having to build, you know, having to come back from the adversity that she had to come through to try to pick up the victory in the match. You had a very like a very good flurry of moves from Kairi Sane. She had a very impactful spear, getting through most of her moves while also having to sell the leg injury to go along with it. I thought it was really good. The flurry of moves, she hit her insane elbow from the second rope to Shayna Baszler's back, hits a high fly flow or flying crossbody to the outside of the ring, gets her back into the ring, and then hits the insane elbow from the top rope, thinking that it's like, okay, this is going to be the end of the match. And it wasn't. Shayna Baszler kicked out and eventually gets in the rear naked choke that she has for her finish. But Kairi Sane was able to fight out of it, and eventually gets to the rope, and then gets her set up again, and then eventually Kairi gets control again and sets her up again for the insane elbow, but Shayna Baszler gets her feet up to hit the arm and counter the move, gets her back into the rear naked choke, but Kairi Sane rolls over and gets the pin that way, picking up the victory. I like this match. That was one of those matches like, yep, that was really good. Well played on that one, and very good match from both Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane. I liked what they did here, and I like the way that they kind of pulled the victory out of nowhere, which has been kind of the thing. People who have picked up the victories over Shayna Baszler, it's been kind of out of nowhere. If you watched how Ember Moon won, she won out of nowhere. And Kairi Sane won out of nowhere to go along with it, with some kind of mistake that Shayna Baszler pulls that does. And I think it's been really good. It's definitely been really good on that side of everything. So this leads us to the main event of the night, which was Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship in a last man standing match. And again, these two together, I'm not getting sick of it yet. I'm going to put it that way. They seem to do something different each time, but they also bring back in elements each time from their previous matches, such as, you know, destroying the ring area, like pulling up the mats on the outside to expose the concrete. This time they added tables into there as well, into the side of everything. This one is kind of Johnny Gargano being a little bit more heelish still. He's saying that his redemption is getting in the NXT title and stopping Tommaso Ciampa, but his true redemption is going to be not going too far. Not going too far in a match, which he continually does. He's going one step too far every single time, but also showing his heart throughout the entire time of being able to try to fight back up from every time that Tommaso Ciampa had him down, to go along with it. And it was just a great match. The first time you had Yeah. We wish she was going to be more successful. Then again, she's kind of on Raw, and that's going to be harsh for Ember Moon to be successful on Raw at this point in time. At least in terms of title picture. I think in the terms of everything else, she'll be fine. But title picture might be a little while because of the whole Ronda being in the title picture area, which we'll talk about here in a bit. Which we'll talk about here after this. I'm going to go through my predictions for SummerSlam today. But Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, some really, really good stuff. They've been putting on great matches the entire year. This is another great one. I'm still particularly a fan, mainly of their first match. I think that match has probably been their best, though this one's probably their second best. I think I like this one more than the street fight last time during Money in the Bank weekend on that one. But brutal stuff throughout the entire thing. Each of them selling the factor of the beatdowns that they were getting throughout the entire match. Tommaso Ciampa got put through a set of tables that were, instead of being stacked fully together, so like you would have one table stacked and then you would have a table stacked on top of it, Johnny Gargano laid its face down, so it was like just going through two tables, and then he fell through the concrete after a super kick to go along with it. Johnny Gargano ate a acid rain crush maneuver, or a Celtic cross maneuver through the Spanish announce table. I like the little bit that they put in there with Johnny Gargano having Tommaso Ciampa on the outside of the ring right by the barricade area, and then he goes for a super kick, but Tommaso gets out of the way and he super kicks a crew member, and he can't believe what he had just done. Just things like that. I liked what they did here in telling the story of not only both of them being resilient, but Tommaso Ciampa also being that dastardly heel that he is throughout the entire time, and doing everything he can to try to pick up some kind of victory. And I like the aspect that he did the running knee with the chair through the barricade, and to try to get the 10 count, he throws the barricade back over Johnny Gargano, but he doesn't just do that, he also takes the crew member that was knocked out and puts him on top of him. He takes a couple of chairs and puts it on top of him, and a table on top of him. I think he even threw the ring bell into there as well. Great stuff. On every way. I liked what they did here. I definitely liked what they did here. They brought back out the handcuffs and the crutch as well. And that scene with Tommaso Ciampa having to pull himself up with the crutch was great. But also every time Johnny Gargano was down and you thought he was out, just finding his way back up in a new way, in some way, shape, or form, was some really good stuff. The handcuffs came into play where they went away from the ring and up to the rampway, and Johnny Gargano had already gotten a cuff on one of the cuffs onto Tommaso Ciampa's wrist, so it was just kind of there throughout, I would say, about the last 10 to 15 minutes of the match. They get up to the rampway. Johnny Gargano does the reverse and finally throws Tommaso Ciampa into the entrance to the entrance area, like Tommaso Ciampa had been doing to him. But then he takes the handcuff and handcuffs him to one of those LED boards, and just starts going to town on Tommaso Ciampa, to the point that Tommaso Ciampa was going like, I'm sorry, Johnny, I'm sorry. And Johnny's going like, it's too late for that. And this is the aspect of Johnny Gargano continually becoming what he hates the most and going too far. And it cost him every single time, because he's super kicking him over and over and over again. And Tommaso Ciampa's down, and the referee's up to a count of 8, but he's not listening to the count in any way, shape, or form. He goes one more and goes and exposes his knee, and then goes at full speed and nails Tommaso Ciampa with a knee, and then wipes himself out on a set of tables to go along with that, and I think hitting his knee as well onto like a speaker setup or a casing setup that they had there, injuring his knee, and you have both of them down. The referee is getting up to a count of 8. Count of 7, count of 8. Johnny Gargano's hold his knee. And I think they said later that, or I'm not sure if it's, I'm assuming that was full on kayfabe, saying that maybe Johnny Gargano dislocated his knee, so he can't get up. But Tommaso Ciampa at the count of 9 rolls off the staging and is on his feet. Referee gets the 10. Tommaso Ciampa picks up the victory yet again, sneaking out a victory while, yes again, being handcuffed. And once again, Johnny Gargano had his opportunity for redemption by picking up the NXT title, but he had to go one more, a little too far, and it cost him the match. And that is the story going forward. They end the match, or they end the show with Johnny Gargano being up on the rampway, getting attended to his knee, and then Tommaso Ciampa walking back out and holding up the NXT title over his head as they go off the air, and all Johnny Gargano can do is stare at it. Great stuff. Great stuff. I enjoyed that match. Overall, NXT Takeover Brooklyn, great show. Very fun show. On all sides. Little snippets of maybe like you're reaching for complaints. We'll leave it at that. You're reaching for them, and I saw a couple of them in there, and that's what it is. But again, NXT Takeover, great show, and nothing but really glowing reviews about it. There was nothing really bad about the show in any way. So let's skip going over Raw and SmackDown this week. Raw and SmackDown this week weren't bad shows. I thought SmackDown was pretty good. I thought Raw was pretty good as well, with everything. You had some really good stuff, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about it while we're going through what we're going to go through next, which is SummerSlam 2018 predictions. That's right. We've got all the matches here. We've got 13 matches to go through for predictions. Great. This is going to be a lot of matches again. So, yeah. Let's get this started with the kickoff show matches. So we're going to start with Cedric Alexander going up against Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight Championship. This, depending on how much time they give, could be a really good match. There's a piece of me that kind of maybe wishes this was done on... Maybe wishes was done on 205 Live to kind of give them a little bit more time, because they give those title matches on 205 Live a lot of time. They might not give this one that much time in this, so it might be a shorter match. But I'm going to go with Cedric Alexander picking up the victory in this match and keeping the Cruiserweight title. I don't know exactly where they're going to go next afterwards, but I don't know if it's really time to take that Cruiserweight title off of Cedric Alexander. So I am going to go with Cedric on this one, and we'll definitely see how that goes. And lo and behold, we have 2 title matches on the pre-show, because we have the B team going up against the Revival. This was kind of set up after the tag team title match that was on not on SmackDown, but on Raw, for the triple threat with Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy being in there versus the Revival versus the B team. The B team picked up the victory after the Revival hit the Shatter Machine on Bray Wyatt. Curtis Axel was able to sneak in and get the victory on that one, and this is kind of the rematch on that. And oddly enough, I'm actually gonna go. Oddly enough, you don't always pick for titles to switch hands on the pre-show, but I think we're gonna see that here. And I'm going to go with the Revival picking up the victory and picking up the tag team titles. I know they don't really have much of a build going into it to them picking it up, but I think it's going to happen this time. Some of these predictions are going to be a little bit weird to a certain degree. So I am going to go with a revival. So this brings us to the last match that will be on the pre-show, which is going to be Rusev and Lana going up against Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. Now, Zelina Vega and Almas have pretty much had control the entire time. When will WWE be great again? Might be a great show tonight. I don't know. We'll see how everything plays out to go along with that. Or maybe when the Bucks and Kenny Omega are here. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I'm not saying that it's great. I've been enjoying the shows recently, though. That's been one thing. That's kind of weird on that. But for Rusev and Lana and Almas and Vega, this one's been set up pretty much on SmackDown over the last couple of weeks. And Zelina Vega picking up victories over Lana. And then, of course, you've had Almas picking up victory over Rusev and Aiden English. And Aiden English continually messing up and getting, like, continually trying to help but get in the way. But continually get in the way of everything. And it has been an interesting one to go along with it. And I feel like at this point in time, Rusev and Lana need to pick up a victory. Now, I feel like that there's a chance that they do continue this thing with Aiden English messing it up and that causes them to lose. That's a possibility. But I'm going to go with Rusev and Lana picking up the victory in this one and actually getting a little bit of momentum on their side. And they'll probably continue the thing with Aiden English and Rusev and Lana down the road to go along with this, and probably having Almas to be a kind of like a buffer in there as well. But I see Rusev and Lana picking up the victory in this one. So this leads us to the SmackDown Tag Team titles, which are going to be going with the Bludgeon Brothers, the champions, going up against the New Day. Man. There's not much build to this. Outside of that tag team title tournament, there's not much build to this at all to go along with it. You haven't had a lot of interaction between the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers to go along with that. The Bludgeon Brothers have been destroying jobber tag teams while New Day's been having great matches. That match with Cesaro and Sheamus in the finals was great. Their match with Sanity was really good, and the six-man with Sanity was pretty good as well, with the Bludgeon Brothers kind of afterwards just standing in the back of everything, just staring down all of the members of the New Day to go along with that. So not much of a build to this, but it is the New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers are, you know, and in terms of their destruction and everything, they're great in their own right to go along with it. But in this case, I feel like the New Day is going over on this particular match. I feel like they will go over in this match and pick up the tag team titles. Bludgeon Brothers really haven't been doing too much with these tag team titles. It's kind of time to get them off of the Bludgeon Brothers and back on the New Day and see where they go with this from here on in. So this leads us to Finn Balor going up against Constable Baron Corbin. Not much to this one. Not much to really say about this one. Wish Finn Balor was in a better position. But he is on the main card, so good for that. Good for that side. I'm going to go with Finn Balor in this match. Not much to really talk about on this one. You've kind of seen what they've done with this particular one. Some funny little bits, and I like that Finn Balor's finding the humor, that humor side, playing around with the whole dollhouse thing to go along with it. But not much to it. It is on the main card. I guess you could have put this one on the pre-show, and one of the other matches on the main show could be on the pre-card, maybe the Cruiserweight title match, but I'm going to go with Finn Balor on this one, since they are 1-1 right now. Finn Balor won at Extreme Rules. Corbin had the win in the on the Monday Night Raw match, and I don't see Corbin taking two straight on this one, so I'm going to go with Finn Balor to gain the advantage and maybe, hopefully, in this feud. Now is the match that has been, what is it? Kind of? Well, I mean, they've had one-on-one matches. Don't get this wrong. But kind of a match that's almost considered 8 years in the making. It's Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. They've had a feud pretty much going on for 8 years. Think about that. All the way back to the original variation of NXT to now. Whether it be a war of words or them having a match in some way. They had matches in 2010 and really haven't had any other matches since to go along with it. But they've always had these odds at each other, and they did a great promo package from there was a set of 3 promos throughout SmackDown this week where they were talking about the NXT side of everything, to the Talking Smack stuff, to the current stuff to go along with it. It was a great set of promos going into this match. Here's the thing. I'm going with The Miz on this one. I think The Miz picks up the victory here. Miz goes over Daniel Bryan tonight, whether it be clean or through nefarious means, in any way, shape, or form. Miz goes over, and this feud continues on. And hopefully they continue it on throughout the entire year leading up to a bigger show down the line, whether it be Royal Rumble time, WrestleMania time, any time. To go along with that. Hopefully it's not one of those, it happens at SummerSlam and it happens at the next 3 pay-per-view style thing to go along with it. But I am going to go with Miz to pick up the victory and gain the advantage in this feud, leading to further into their particular feud to go along with it. And obviously that means I'm thinking Daniel Bryan's re-signing with the WWE. And like I said, they made mention to that. And Daniel Bryan himself may mention that it's like more than 90% that he's going to re-sign with WWE. So more than likely, we're going to be seeing that coming up here and seeing some more with them. But hopefully it's not like every pay-per-view. Hopefully they save it for something like bigger down the line. But Miz is going over on this one. At least that's how I feel. So this leads us to Shinsuke Nakamura going up against Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship, with Randy Orton lurking somewhere. Anywhere, could be anywhere. I don't know. It'll be an interesting one, and that's what they had. They had like the whole Jeff Hardy, Shinsuke stuff on SmackDown, and Randy Orton's just lurking in the background. And, I mean, think about that. Randy Orton's not necessarily in the match. He's just stalking in the background in this feud. A lot of people thought this was going to be a triple threat, but it wasn't turned into a triple threat. In that side, it's just going to be Shinsuke and Jeff Hardy. I feel like Shinsuke Nakamura is going to take this match and keep the United States title. I think the math from SmackDown with Jeff Hardy gaining the advantage with a twist of fate and a swanton bomb was him getting over a little bit going into the match, and he is not going to pick up the victory in the particular match itself. Shinsuke Nakamura, I feel like, will be going over in keeping the United States Championship. So this is going to lead me to the SmackDown Women's Championship. It's going to be Carmella versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. And this is a hard one to call, actually. The next couple of matches are hard ones to call on any side of it. This one, I have it written down, but I almost want to switch it. And I think I am. On this one. I'm going to go with Charlotte winning this one. And kind of stealing the victory from Becky Lynch to start their feud. And she has the SmackDown Women's title. And Carmella ends out not keeping the title. Originally, I was thinking Carmella, because of the whole aspect of both of them being in there, and that's going to cause Carmella to pick up the victory. But I feel like they're leading something into a true feud between Becky Lynch and Charlotte. And this is a great way to start that off, by having it look like Becky's going to pick up the victory, and then Charlotte sneaks in there and gets the win. Kind of leading to one of them turning heel in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully Charlotte on this side. I think Becky's a better babyface than Charlotte is on that one. Charlotte is a very good heel on that side of everything, and maybe that's the route that they go to go along with it. So I'm going to go with Charlotte picking up the victory in this one and picking up the SmackDown Women's title. So this leads us into the Intercontinental title match, which is going to be Dolph Ziggler going up against Seth Rollins. We've got Drew McIntyre and a returning Dean Ambrose, who is jacked, completely jacked now after his time off from his, was it bicep injury or rotator cuff injury? He's been gone for a while with an arm injury. And he came back in, you know, bald, kind of bald, hair very short, and full beard. And he is also, you can tell, noticeably jacked on his side. So he returned on Monday night, and I'm interested in this one. I have Seth Rollins right now, but again, I'm not fully convinced. And I'm actually going to switch that again to Dolph Ziggler. That's right. I'm going to pick this one for being Dolph Ziggler. With Dean Ambrose kind of... I feel like if they do... I feel like this is a good time to do the heel turn. That he came back. And this is a good spot to do that heel turn. And so I'm going to go with Dolph. And to do that on that side of everything. And we'll go along with that, go along on that side of doing that, having Dolph pick up the victory. And I think this might be the time Dean kind of turns heel, because a feud with Seth and Dean doesn't necessarily, I think a feud with Seth and Dean doesn't need the Intercontinental title. Though it would probably give it a lot more prestige. So that is one thing that they could do tonight, which is making the Seth pick up the victory and the turn happens later. A heel turn is coming, and it's probably going to be Dean. I think it's tonight. I think. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know because I'm not in there, and apparently they come up with stuff like on the fly to go along with it. On that one. So, but I'm going to go with Dolph picking up the victory on this one. So this leads us to Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens. Going, and the winner, or basically the winner of this one is going to be Mr. Money in the Bank. So the rules are Braun picks up the victory, he keeps his Money in the Bank contract. Kevin Owens wins in any way, shape, or form via pinfall, submission, countout, disqualification, ref stoppage, comet hitting, a comet coming down and destroying Braun Strowman. Anything, any way that for Kevin Owens to pick up the victory, he gets the Money in the Bank contract. They've been playing that off throughout the entire throughout the couple of weeks of having Braun Strowman be DQ'd, be counted out, to kind of signify all those potential options for him losing the Money in the Bank contract, which makes me feel like that Braun Strowman is going to win. And I'm actually going to go with Braun Strowman in this one. He's going to pick up the victory, keep the Money in the Bank contract. Does he cash in that night? I'm not going to call it. I'm not going to call for the cash in, but it would be an interesting way of going on that one. But I'm going to pick for Braun Strowman to pick up the victory here and keep the Money in the Bank contract. So this leads us into the Raw Women's title match, which is going to be Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey. This could main event the show, by the way. This might not be this might be the last match that goes on the air. I don't know if that's going to be the actual case or not, but it might be the final match that airs tonight. Especially if it ends up being the main event of the night, I'm still going to make this pick regardless. I feel like Ronda's going over. They've done enough to where it makes it feel like Alexa's kind of had the upper hand a bit to a certain degree. Yes, Ronda had more of the upper hand after Monday night on that one. But I think it's time that I don't necessarily think it's necessarily time that Alexa's not in the title picture or anything like that, but I think it's one of those bits that it's not time to have Ronda lose a match even through nefarious means to go along with it. To go along with that on that side of everything. So I feel like Ronda's going to pick up the victory here, and she's going to kind of hold on with the Raw Women's title for a while. Though, again, I wouldn't be shocked if they did do something that prevented Ronda from winning as well. But I think it's a little too soon to have her lose a match. Though there's one thing. You know what? No, I'm going to keep Ronda. I'm going to keep Ronda here. I don't see them doing the loss just yet. But there's one thing that they have failed to mention is that now Alicia Fox has been around with Alexa Bliss since Mickie James has been out. How kayfabe was that injury is the question. I don't know, because we haven't actually heard what the injury was for Mickie James. Maybe they've been holding off Mickie James for her to come back here at SummerSlam. I don't know. We'll go, but we're going to stick with Ronda on this one to pick up the victory and pick up the Raw Women's title. So this leads us to the WWE title match, which is going to be Samoa Joe going up against AJ Styles, and oh, the war of words that these two have had. It's been good. I've liked it. Samoa Joe sneaking up on AJ Styles during the contract signing to choke him out and then sign the contract. Great stuff. I've been enjoying their program. The stuff of, Samoa Joe getting under the skin of AJ Styles by calling him a bad parent. He's a great champion, but he's a horrible parent and a horrible husband and everything on that side, even to the point of that letter that was that he read from last week on SmackDown as well. Just great stuff. And it leads me to believe that AJ Styles is keeping the title. That's right. I'm going to go with AJ Styles on this one. Now, obviously, just like with many of the other matches, oh wow, having some issues. This is the first time for a while. Having some issues today. Have we dropped frames? We have not dropped frames. Okay. That's weird. Let's see what that does. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming experience. Viewers will experience buffering. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that AJ Styles picks up the victory in this one and keeps the WWE title on that side of everything. So this leads us to the main event of the night, which is going to be Brock Lesnar going up against Roman Reigns, and that is going to be for the WWE Universal Championship. And please, WWE, just, please, 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 please just let Roman win. But I'm not picking Roman. That's right. I'm not going to pick Roman Reigns. I'm picking Brock Lesnar. Something just says they're going to do this weird UFC crossover. And it's coming. And I don't know why. There's a piece of me that actually wants Roman to just win this one in this feud and get the title off of Brock, so we can finally have that title around on a weekly basis in some way, shape, or form, because we've had it for so long. But there's also that piece of me that's just going to say Brock's going to win. Brock's going to win this match. I don't know why. I'm not sure why, but I feel that Brock wins the match and picks up the victory. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. I don't know why. But I'm going with Brock Lesnar to pick up the victory. And that's going to be my final pick, and I'm shocked I'm actually picking for that one on that side of everything. But it is one of those bits that, yeah, going with Brock on this one. So, like I said, my picks were kind of out there a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see which ones are actually right and which ones are actually wrong to go along with that. And that is basically everything I've got this week for GodSaw's Turnbuckle. We went through NXT Takeover and the SummerSlam predictions, talked a little bit about Raw and SmackDown to go along with it on that side of everything, without really going over a full review of both shows on that one. So with that being said, I don't think there's anything else I have for you guys this week. Yeah, I don't. That was weird towards the end there. I was getting some buffering issues. I'm so sorry about that. I hate it when things are doing things like that on there. Some weird internet issues. Doesn't look like we dropped any frames though. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this week's episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle. Again, just before going, and yes, it will be, it will be same bat time, same bat channel next week. It should be Sunday again next week, and we will be going with a probably more traditional style episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle. On that one, where we do go over Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and hopefully some other news that goes throughout the week as well. So with that being said, everyone, one last time, we're about 11 hours away, or just under, well, about 10 and a half hours away from this ending. You still have a chance to enter for a chance to win the Alexa Bliss Funko Pop that is signed as well. So, again, link will be down in the description. I hope you guys stay safe. Enjoy SummerSlam this week. Take care, everyone today. For everyone who tuned into the chat early, tuned in to the stream side of everything, thank you guys for watching. For everybody who watches later, thank you guys for watching as well. Take care. Stay safe. Have a great rest of your day.